A quick romp in the hay doesn't just feel good. It turns out that sex has advantages that go way beyond simple pleasure. In fact, sexual activity, with or without a partner, is linked to some impressive research-backed health benefits, says Kate Thomas, Director of Clinical Services at the Johns Hopkins Sex and Gender Clinic. And she noted it's not just for young people. Sex can be hugely beneficial for people as they get older, not only for the reported medical health benefits, but for our psychological and emotional health, Promise says. It can strengthen our relationships, promote self-esteem, and improve our sense of identity. Here are 12 other surprising health benefits of sex. 1. Boost immunity. Hopping in the sack on a regular basis may help boost your immune system and protect you from getting sick, studies show. Researchers at Wilkes University in Pennsylvania found that college students who had sex 1 to 2 times a week had significantly more immunoglobulin A in their systems than people who had sex less often. Immunoglobulin A is an antibody in the mucosal membranes that is considered a first-line defense against infection. Another study in 2021 found that having sex more than 3 times a month seemed to offer a protective effect against COVID-19. Researchers aren't sure exactly why sex seems to drive up immunity, but Thomas said it may be because sex increases blood flow, helping to distribute antibodies throughout the body. 2. Improves heart health. Some men worry that sex could trigger a heart attack, but studies show that's exceedingly rare, especially if you exercise regularly. In fact, the latest research shows that regular romps with your partner are linked to a lower risk of heart problems. A large study published in the American Journal of Cardiology found that men who had sex at least twice a week were 50% less likely to die of heart disease compared to men who had it once a month. More recent research published in Nature in December 2024 looked at both men and women and similarly revealed that those having sex less than once a month face the highest risks of cardiovascular disease. The greatest cardiovascular benefits were seen in those having sex once or twice a week, the study showed. For women, a large analysis revealed that those who are satisfied with their sex lives are less likely to have peripheral artery disease, a condition that narrows the arteries and makes stroke more likely. Researchers believe the protective effects stem from a variety of factors, including lower stress levels, improved sleep, and a stronger connection to your partner that has been linked to sex. 3. Strengthens the pelvic floor. A study published in International Urogynecology Journal found that sexually active women were significantly more likely to have a strong pelvic floor compared with those who were not sexually active. That's probably because every time you have sex, you give the muscles in your nether regions a workout, Thomas says. When you're aroused, muscle tension in the pelvic region naturally increases, Thomas explains. Then during orgasm, all the muscles contract just like they would during a Kegel exercise. Having strong pelvic floor muscles gives you control over your bladder and helps prevent incontinence. In men, a weak pelvic floor can contribute to erectile dysfunction. Another bonus to strengthening your pelvic floor, researchers say it may make sex even more pleasurable. 4. Relieves headaches and other pain. Before you reach for an over-the-counter pain reliever, try an orgasm. Whether you have headaches, arthritis, or another type of chronic pain, sex may offer relief, Thomas says. One large observational study found that of those who had a sexual experience during a migraine attack, 60% reported partial or complete relief from pain. However, another 33% reported their migraines worsening. The researchers noted that some people, particularly male migraine sufferers, use sexual activity as a therapeutic tool for their pain. Another study found that vaginal stimulation in women elevated their pain tolerance by about 40%, while orgasm pushed it up nearly 75%. Experts credit the release of feel-good hormones, including endorphins, the body's natural pain reliever. 5. Helps with symptoms of menopause. Regular sexual activity can help counteract the physical changes, such as vaginal dryness and atrophy, that come with menopause, says Admira Mirshi, a gynecologist practicing in Brooklyn, New York. In a 2023 cross-sectional study, researchers found that menopausal women who engaged in regular intimacy reported less fatigue and fewer mood swings, along with better sexual function, improved arousal, lubrication, and orgasm. The study suggested sexual activity could help reduce menopause symptoms by more than 10%, regardless of whether menopause occurred naturally or through surgery. Tips for better sex. Aging doesn't have to put a damper on your sex life. Here are 10 steps for better sex after age 50. Sex stimulates blood flow and helps keep vaginal tissues healthy, toned, and stretchy. In fact, studies show the more you have sex, the healthier your tissues will be.
Any organ that you bring more blood supply to, you keep it more youthful, Mirshi says. A lot of patients come to me for hormonal replacement therapy. Before all of that, I say make sure you get regular, consistent, good orgasms, because that's going to help a lot.
6. Reduces the risk of prostate cancer. For men, several studies have revealed a link between frequent orgasm and a lower risk of prostate cancer. The prostate holds some of the fluid that is released at ejaculation. One Harvard study of almost 32,000 men found that the more a man ejaculated, the lower his risk of the cancer. In fact, those who ejaculated more than 20 times per month reduced their prostate cancer risk by about 20%, compared with those who ejaculated 4 to 7 times per month. While the reason for the link isn't entirely clear, experts believe that frequent turnover of the fluids in your prostate is likely good for you. Quote, that way you flush out more of the potential carcinogens that are there, and quote, Thomas says, our system is designed to be flowing and replacing itself. 7. Boosts mental health. A large body of research has found that sexual activity and intimacy are linked to lower rates of depression, anxiety, and feelings of isolation, and that regular sexual activity can boost happiness and mood. One of the more recent studies, published in 2021, found that anxiety and depression scores were significantly lower in those who were sexually active during the COVID-19 lockdown compared with those who weren't. 8. Reduces stress. One of the top benefits of sex, particularly in the acutely stressful world in which we're living these days, is its ability to immediately melt away built-up stress, says Paul Hokemeyer, a licensed marriage and family therapist based in New York City. When you're stressed, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. One 2019 study showed that intimacy with a partner, whether sexual or not, reduced elevated cortisol levels in both men and women. Another study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that anxiety and depression scores were significantly lower in those who were sexually active during the COVID-19 shutdown. In addition, when you have sex, your body releases a cocktail of hormones and neurotransmitters that, quote, help calm us down and make us feel safe and secure in the world, end quote, Hokemeyer explains. 9. Burns calories. Getting busy with your partner isn't going to replace a session on the treadmill, but it does count as physical activity. In a study published in the journal PLOS1, Canadian researchers found that men burned 101 calories on average during a 24-minute session, while women burned 69 calories. Quote, these results suggest that sexual activity may potentially be considered, at times, as a significant exercise, end quote, the authors wrote. Of course, how many calories you actually burn depends on how long your session lasts and how vigorous it is. But even if your romp lasts only 6 minutes, the typical length of the session, that's still better than doing nothing at all. The latest research on physical activity reveals that getting your heart rate up even for just a few minutes conveys health benefits. 10. Enhances brain health. Several studies suggest that frequent sexual activity may have a beneficial effect on the brain, particularly in older adults. A 2016 study of nearly 6,000 adults aged 50 to 89 found that those who engaged in sex more often demonstrated enhanced recall on memory tests. Another study of adults ages 50 and over, published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior in 2018, found that frequent sexual activity and greater emotional closeness during partnered sexual activity was associated with better performance on memory tasks. Social psychologist Justin LeMiller, a Kinsey Institute research fellow and host of the Sex and Psychology podcast, notes that animal studies show regular sexual activity is linked to more neuron growth in the brain. 11. Helps you sleep. If you tend to doze off after sex, there is a scientific explanation for that. During sex, the body releases hormones such as oxytocin and prolactin that induce pleasant and relaxing feelings, Marashi says. Sex also reduces cortisol, which is associated with stress. Quote, this can cause someone to feel relaxed and drowsy and make it easier for them to fall asleep, end quote, Marashi says. In one study, about 63% of participants reported that it was easier to fall asleep after orgasm, and 71% of participants reported better sleep quality after orgasm. Despite common perceptions that men are the ones who roll over and start snoring after sex, there was no gender difference in the results. If you struggle with sleep, try sex in lieu of a nightcap or sleep medication, Marashi advises. 12. Extends your life. You're never too old to have sex, researchers say, and making it a regular part of your routine may be a tool to extend your lifespan. In Ikaria Greece, which is one of the regions of the world where people live significantly longer than average, more than 80% of people ages 65 to 100 are having sex, according to Blue Zones, an organization that researches the world's longest-lived cultures. A variety of studies have found a correlation between an active sex life and a longer life. For example, an observational study of 15,269 U.S. adults published in 2020 in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that death rates were about 50% lower for those who had sex at least once a week compared with those who rarely had sex. More recent research indicates that sexual activity is especially beneficial for women and those with depression. Women who rarely have sex face a 70% higher risk of death compared with those who have sex at least once a week, and those with depression have a 197% higher risk of death if they have sex less than once a week, the study showed. Experts believe the lower risk of death likely stems from all the other known health benefits of sex, including better heart health, improved sleep, lower stress, and a closer relationship with your partner. Thomas and Marashi both stress that help is available if physical problems such as erectile dysfunction or vaginal dryness are keeping you from being sexually active. Quote, you may not be as frisky as you once were, end quote, but sex should still be a part of your identity. If there's pain or a lack of desire or another problem, there are people out there who can help. Thanks for watching.